Welcome to you. My name's Dale and this is Dale's Addiction. Today I wanted to bring a quick review of my Louis Vuitton agenda in the GM size. Now, I did have this scheduled to film for quite some time, but to be honest, I am so unmotivated by planning and organising, unlike my good friend here on YouTube, Amelia Rose, who recently did her review on this agenda, that she prompted me to get my act together and do my review. So thanks for that, Amelia Rose. I am going to probably cause you some distress as I share how I use my Louis Vuitton agenda, the pros and cons of having not just the agenda cover but also the Louis Vuitton inserts, and some wear and tear and ways that I use this thing. So let's get into it. This is the Louis Vuitton monogram agenda cover in the GM size, which is the largest size, and I purchased my agenda back in 2015 when I started working for myself. So this baby has got 5 good years of wear and tear that I can happily share with you whether or not I think it's a well-made item and worthy of your dollars. First and foremost, do you need a luxury agenda cover? Well, that depends on who you are and what motivates you. And for me, absolutely, I wanted a luxury agenda cover. And the fact that it's even called an agenda, not a journal, not a diary, was really odd for me, trying to figure out, well, what do you use this thing for? Because it's not a term that we really use here in Australia. So I'll just take you through some of the features of the agenda cover. So you can see it sits, so this is an A5 notebook here. Don't you just love my notebooks? I saw this one and I had to have it. So it fits about an A5 sized book or document inside of it. Obviously it's a little bit bigger than that. It closes with this snap closure here. And then on the inside, I've got lots of things in mine. So on the inside, you've got a couple of slips here and a big pocket at the back. And then you've got your 6 rings and they open. Let's see if I can do this. You just pull down these little insides and they open like so. Now, ouch, that hurt. Do not do that. Down the spine, you can see that there are 2 screws and they both say Louis Vuitton on them. I will tell you what's inside here very shortly. Then at the back, you've got another pocket. So this one doesn't have the top exposed, and a little card pocket here as well. There's also a spot for you to put a pen in this little loop here. So it's a pretty basic item in terms of what you get when you buy this. Usually it will come in a dust bag and a box, at least mine did anyway. You'll also see that I had mine hot stamped and mine is made in France. So how do I use this agenda? Well, given the size of this is not something that I would cart around with me. So I tend to use this at home in my home office, and I use it primarily as an appointment book and a planning book. I use iCalendar on my Apple devices. However, something about my way of learning and processing information requires me to scribble down notes. And my notes are pretty much illegible to anybody else except for me. So confidentiality is something that I don't have to worry about, because if you picked up one of my notebooks, you would have a hard time understanding what I had recorded there. So I keep this at home and I transcribe my appointments from my iCalendar into my diary. And most often I will revert to this as a point of truth before I accept any commitments that come through in meeting requests electronically. Because for some reason, looking at it in my agenda helps me to calculate how much time I'm going to need to travel, prepare, and also recover from some of the work that I do. Has quite a physical impact on me in terms of my tiredness and those sorts of things. So the reason that leads me on then to choosing the Louis Vuitton agenda inserts. Why do I choose them? Look, they're about 175 Australian dollars, and as you can see, since I've had this diary, I have been buying the inserts. Why have I kept them? I have no idea, but for some reason I have. Perhaps after this I will throw them away. In any case, I have bought the agenda inserts. Why? There's a few things I really like about them. So let me take you through. Every year there's some kind of novel inclusion in the agenda inserts. And this one was from a couple of years back. And you can see it has all these different post-it notes. So little tabs that have illustrations on them, like a list and some post-it notes. I obviously haven't used them all yet because I'm not a big scrapbooker planner kind of person. So I don't use a lot of the novelty items very often. This year's has Vivian going on travels. Vivian is the only one going travelling. Not many of us are. Each month and each section has an illustration included as well. So it brings a bit of colour to your agenda. And if you're someone like me who doesn't include dividers and stickers and things like that, it's good that they're already built in for a bit of fun. Now, each of the agendas come with like a little, and you've probably seen this before. I'll see if I can find one from a previous year. Okay. God knows why I keep these, but this is an example. So this one came and had the silver. This is the 2020 model. It had the silver edging. It had the agenda here. And then inside it also had... Why have I catalogued these? I really don't know. And they've had this every year, a repertoire, which is basically an address book. God knows why you would need one of these. I really don't see the point because all of your address book is in your phone now. So that's a bit weird. The other thing that they all have, which again, sometimes it inspires me when we can travel. Obviously, at the moment, we can't. There is a map of the world. So there are these big maps that they include inside of the agendas. There's a map of France, for example. And they're kind of redundant. They're not things that really need to be in there. So I pull those out because they take up really important space. But let's go back to this year's one. So we've got a program which takes you right through the year, and there's a little a legend that basically illustrates when there are public holidays and in what countries they're in. There's not a lot of note paper for general note taking in the Louis Vuitton agendas, so something to think about if you're a big note taker. How will you address that need? For me, I'm going to flip around all over the place in this video. I carry these small A5 stitched notebooks around with me. I do a lot of note taking, as I said, like things they're very, very messy, my notes, and but they capture what I need in terms of a brief and any actions that I need to move forward with. So I will always have one of these literally sitting inside of my agenda, and you can see there is heaps of room inside of there for that to fit. So I buy these little A5 notebooks. I don't buy hardcovers because they're obviously less flexible, but see little ones like this, and you can usually buy them in a pack of 3. They're again something that's a bit pretty, and it's just lined paper, and you can slip them inside of your agenda, and then you've always got plenty of note paper, and it's all in one spot. So I'm just going to try and find a month that doesn't have any writing in it. Okay, here we go. So here's an example of a month to 2-page view, and obviously you get every month. So this is August, but there's plenty of room in here if you have blackout days where you're traveling or you've got birthdays. You want to have a look at your month in advance in terms of where you're going to be. I really, really like this set out. Saturday and Sunday are only little half spots because it is an agenda for work. It's not a life planner. The other thing I really love about these inserts is the little tear-offs, so that you can easily find the week that you're up to just by tearing off the corners, which is great and saves some time. Now, from a distance here, you can see that I can put all of my appointments in here for the week and scribble some notes on the bottom. I will show you one that doesn't have anything in it. Okay, so let's skip ahead. So you can see there's appointments there from 8 until 9 p.m. and plenty of room to write down what those appointments are and where they will be located. And that's pretty much what I use my agenda for. It's literally transposing my appointments so that I can see a week in advance how much time I have to plan and deliver work, and also fit in the things that are in my personal life, like lunches and brunches and hair appointments and nail appointments and all those sorts of things. I find it much easier to look at something in this format than on my iCalendar for some reason. Now, the agenda takes you right through to the end of the year and the first couple of days of January of 2022. And then there is a couple of years in advance in a very small format, just for you to reference as you get closer to the end of the year and you're looking to see when public holidays are, for example, so for Easter and Christmas and those sorts of things. And that's it. Each year there is a little inclusion. I showed you the post-it notes before, but this year it's Vivian's sticker sheet. So these are all different activities that Vivian might get up to as she travels around the world on her own. Last year, I think this was last year, was they're all travel themed usually. So this one is much more of a sketch-based illustration. And you can see how often I use stickers, not very often. Sometimes I remember to. And this one's from a little while back, and this was the Louis Vuitton trunk stickers. Or that's at least what it was based on. So again, sometimes I use them, sometimes I don't. I'm not a big planner person in terms of scrapbooking and those sorts of things. How many times am I going to say that? Now, another thing, I have copped some shade for my use of non-luxury pens. So I put my pen in like this. Let's just show you. Then I have my notebook inside, and then I close it up like so and snap the button closed. Here we go. Right, and so everything is nice and compact, and I usually leave this on my desk. When I go out, I will take the book out and I'll have a pen in my bag, and then I'll come back and I will check in with this. Back to my pen. Why have I copped shade over this pen? Because it's not a luxury pen. And fair enough, I'm telling you that I need a luxury agenda and I don't have a luxury pen. I like friction pens because I'm a very messy writer, and because I'm writing in appointments. Friction pens erase, so this is an erasable end, so therefore I don't have crossing out and all that messiness to contend with on top of my terrible handwriting and my general messy, unorganised life. So I will always choose to use a friction pen. If you know of a luxury friction pen, please let me know. I might be interested in wasting money on that thing. Now, let me go through the wear and tear, and then I will summarise pros and cons. Given that I've had this for 5 years, I have carried it with me from time to time. However, I like to travel light. In fact, my MacBook is the smallest MacBook there is, and it comes in at 900 grams because I don't want to carry weight around with me when I'm working. So most of the time this stays home. In saying that, you can see that some of the edges on this are slightly lipped. So they have kind of lifted up. They haven't lifted away from any glazing, but there is like a lip here. So you can see that it catches there. I don't know why that's happened. Also on my snap button, there's just a slight bit of discoloration from the brass. So given that this has been banged around in between folders and things like that, I don't think that is unexpected, given that people who have the 6 key holders with these brass buttons, experience that really quickly. yeah, that it's not an unexpected wear and tear for me for 5 to 6 years. All of the glazing is all perfect and still in place. There's no stress, and I have really, shoved lots of things in here. There is no stress on the mechanics of the agenda in terms of it pulling away from the canvas cover. There's no tarnishing on the hardware. There's no cracking. So overall wear and tear, I think it's doing really well for 5 years. So the pros and cons. The pros, the GM is a great size for me personally because of the layout of the appointments and the month to view, the week to view, etc. And there's plenty of room to write your appointments in, which I really like. Also, in this size, the storage capacity is fantastic. The ability to be able to put in a couple of A5 notebooks, to be able to add business cards, have some photos, slip your bills inside, have all the things that you need to be organised in one place is fantastic. As I mentioned before, every year the stickers or the post-its or whatever's included is a really great option, as well as those little corner tear-offs that help you to find where you're at within your annual agenda. The cons, obviously for the inserts, I'd say the price at $175, it's probably 3 times more than you would pay for a Filofax or some other brand insert. However, if you want to do the work, I don't. I don't think this is portable. Obviously, a lot of people are prepared to carry a lot more things than I am, but in my view, I don't think this is the most portable agenda that you could have. The maps and the address book inserts, again, are probably a bit of a waste, and Louis Vuitton would do well to review the format of what they include in the agendas. I'd be happy if they included more stickers and novelty things and less address books and maps, because we don't need those anymore. Do I have any regrets about spending my money on this luxury, unnecessary item? Absolutely not. It was a milestone, it was a point in time, it was a celebration and a recognition, and I look at it every time and I'm happy that I have it. Sometimes I'm a little bit coy about taking it out in public, I have to admit, because it is a bit extra, and certainly when my accountant has questioned what I purchased from Louis Vuitton, and I tell him stationery, and he says, what exactly? And I tell him diary inserts, and he says, for $175. And I say, yes. He's like, okay, well, I guess that's deductible. It often has me rethinking about what a standard is. But I guess for me, in my life where I'm at, absolutely no regrets in purchasing this piece. Are you somebody that uses an agenda? Are you a scrapbooker? Do you like decorating things? Are you what you'd call a super organized, highly structured individual? Or are you a little bit like me and a little bit loose with the detail and use things as guidelines more than rules? I'm really interested to know what kinds of people buy luxury agendas, particularly if, like me, you are less motivated by structure. So what are your thoughts? Would you purchase one of these? Have you purchased one of these? Do you use it? Do you use the Louis Vuitton agenda inserts? Please let me know. I'm really interested to get a feeling for what people think about these sorts of items. And also, if you don't buy the Louis Vuitton inserts, what inserts do you buy? And do you have a heads up for me in terms of where I might be able to look to get a similar format for a lot less? Now, if you want to have a look at people who use their agendas in much more organised and much more committed ways, then please check out Amelia's Closet. I'll link her video below of her recent agenda review. And also the person we all know, the Queen of Agendas, Autumn Beckman. She has several agendas, and the work she puts into those agendas is just, I mean, if I could hire someone just to deck out my agendas, like that would be wonderful. But for me, it's not a motivator at all. So I'll link some of Autumn's videos below where she compares and does really detailed reviews about how she uses her agendas and how she decorates them and those sorts of things. If you've liked this video, please give me a thumbs up. Consider subscribing if you haven't already. I put out videos on Wednesdays and Sundays. So I'll see you next time. Bye.